Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Luening, Horst Luening. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com, and today we have the range of the Glenmorangie single malt whiskies here on my cask. It's not all, there's more, but this is all the entry level single malts. And we start with the first one here right beside me, and this is the Glenmorangie, the original. I think this is one of the most often sold whiskies, single malt whiskies in Scotland. And this one is 10 years old. And if you look carefully at the label, then you see there's no age statement on the main label. It's moved to the small label below. So the original is much more important than the age statement on this whiskey. Glenmorangie is a distillery which is different to others because it has the highest pot still equipment in the market, and they are 6 meters high, 18 feet, and they have also a reflux bowl just on top of the pot still, and this brings a very good distillation so that all the not so good tasting aromas stay back in the pot, and the clear and elegant and smooth alcohols go over in the spirit receiver. So the highest pot stills all over Scotland. There are several good things to say about Glenmorangie. One is that they stopped selling malt whiskey to the blenders. And I think it was in the year 2000 when they stopped that. And after that time, they had more and more stocks which matured in their warehouses. And then the other bottles, the finished bottles in different casks, wine casks, they moved from no age statement to 12 years. So very good. They stopped in 2000, and later on, when they were able to afford it, they moved the age of the whiskies up. Very good. One of the very, very few distilleries which did that in the last 10 years. Sorry. The next thing is Glenmorangie used to have a special painting scheme for the ends of the casks, and they had 3 different colors, and they said, well, this is first fill after the bourbon, this is second fill, and this is third fill, and has to be dumped afterwards. And not the whiskey, the cask. And then some 5-10 years ago, so between 2005 and 2010, they decided we switch over to only 2 maturations in the casks. So the third one is gone. I think you can't see the paintings on the ends any longer because they also moved to a barcode system. And when I was there the last time, 2004, 2005, they experimented with upstanding casks for maturation. Say, palletized warehouses. Glenmorangie is in the Northern Highlands, where only very few distilleries are situated. Are situated. And, if you're traveling north, Glenmorangie is just beside the tourist route, so have a stop, have a look. And there's the old railroad dam between the distillery and the sea, and a lot of birds, and there you're able to hike. It's fun. It's fun at the seashore and the distillery. Then there had been a Glenmorangie port cask finish very early in the market. I think 1997 something. If I have a picture, I put it here in the frame. And this might be one of the very, very first bottles which were ever finished in a second cask. Well, there's this old Bowmore cask which started to leak, which was filled in 1955, started to leak in 1975, switched over in a completely new cask, and then was bottled in 1995, well, for 5,000 a bottle. Well, aber a series of finished bottles might be the Glenmorangie portwood finish had been the first. I'm not quite sure. Balvenie also started quite early with the finishing process. So who was the first? I'm not sure. I have not the slightest clue, is too much, but I'm not sure. And well, from that bottle on, they switched over to a sherry finished and a portwood finished in different shaped bottles. Both were the same, but looked different to the first one. And the portwood finish always sold best because of the old bottle, which was in the beginning, well, not reasonably priced, and afterwards quite expensive among the collectors. And so the portwood finish always sold better than the sherrywood finish. And then there was a Madeira in a green bottle and a burgundy in a blue decor. And then they had those 4 finishing bottles for a time. And then there was a very short period where there were those bottles with an age statement of 12 years. Very short, and then they were gone. So there are, for the collectors, a few very old bottles with an age statement and finished. Then in 2005, 2007, 8 probably, no idea, the extra matured range appeared on the market, and they were 3 bottles: the sherrywood finish, the portwood finish, and the sauternwood finish. And those 3 bottles had an age statement on the label, 12 years old, and were filled with a luxurious 46% alcohol content. So these were bottles which we always looked for. They were in the beginning, well, quite expensive. Then they reduced in price extremely, and then they went up again. So it's like a roller coaster ride with the pricing of those bottles. And then in 2014, things changed. They changed the appearance of the bottle with a label. So they have a main label now and an explanatory label here on the back. There's as well a third label here. So there's this gap in between. This shows this is a younger bottle or a newer bottle. Then the La Santa appeared, and this is the new one. The La Santa with 46% ABV was matured in ex-sherry cask, Oloroso sherry casks. And then in 2014, they changed this bottle to 43%, but added Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. So the whiskey became sweeter through the Pedro Jimenez sherry, and it lost 3% ABV. And this shows that it is made for the mass market, and that the sherry wood finish is sold more often than the portwood finish, which is still 46%. Unfortunately, this one has added caramel color, as well as the 10-year-old. But good news, the portwood is not colored. This is the old bottle where the label is together. There's no gap in between. 46% ABV, and it seems as if this 46% will not change. The color is ruby port wine casks, is not artificially added. So this is the real color from the cask. A wonderful whiskey, and personally for me, I like the portwood finish very much. And this one is, from the range of the whiskies here in the moment on the cask, the one I like most. And this is the Sauterne. It's a sweet, strong wine from Bordeaux in France. It has also 46% ABV, and this is also the older bottle, the newer one I have in the back. I will show you soon. And this is finished in those Sauterne casks, and I'm not really sure, but it should be the Jacques d'Yquem Bodega. No, Bodega is France. Wine Chateau d'Yquem, Jacques d'Yquem, because the mother company of Glenmorangie and Jacques d'Yquem is Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, and they own both this distillery as well as the wine chateau, and therefore they should use those casks for finishing. Yeah, very good one, but I prefer the portwood finish. Here there's the new Nectar d'Or, bigger, but the bottle is the same. But you can see here, it's also the divided labels in the front. So this is the new bottle, and if you compare them, well, the shape is the same, the color slightly different. This is a little bit reddish, this one, and the new one is a little bit golden. So this is this. And there are other bottles from Glenmorangie on the market, the 18-year-old, which looks from the shape of the bottle quite similar, but the bottle is different, is heavier, has a thick bottom, and well, gives you a better appearance. In total, shows the value of the bottle, and the price of the 18-year-old went up and down as well as the others. In the moment, in 2015, it's a little less than before, but it's still nearly always stays below 100. But I've seen it already at 70. So the cheapest is the 10-year-old, the Santa, 5 to 10 euros more. Then again 5 more to the Sauterne, I think is another 10. Then the 18-year-old, and then there's a quarter century, the 25-year-old, and that one is above 300, so quite expensive. And not always available. So I think they were able to increase the stocks of the 12-year-old, but with the 18-year-old, well, it starts to become more and more, and the 25-year-old, well, still suffers a little bit from the selling to the blenders in the past. Then there is the Signet, or Signet, I have no idea how to spell that or to pronounce that, and that is a finished premium single malt whiskey from Glenmorangie, which is very, very dark in color and adds a lot of aromas from the casks. Pricing is high, 130, 140, tending to 150. And yeah, this is the range which is normally available throughout the year. And there had been a cask strength, a star. But I think the market lost that bottle because it was sold not often enough, so volumes kept low, and for a company under the supervision of a well, a global acting corporation, it's quite difficult to have a bottle with only few sellings on the market. And well, it was too high in pricing. Yeah, it was really, really expensive and showed, I think, an age statement of a maximum of 10 years, or sometimes without an age statement. So it was too expensive to really get into the market. Every year there are special bottlings like this Glenmorangie Dornoch limited edition. They are priced around 80 to 90. The amount of bottles available is very limited. I think this one I have a video from already. And there's also a private collection, or private edition, they call it, I think. Those bottles are more expensive, and whenever such a bottle is sold out after a few months or a year, then the prices rise a lot because the collectors are trying to get their collection in sequence. But there's a lot of anger in the market because the amounts of bottles available for the collectors is too few. There are 10 times more collectors than bottles available, and 50% would like to sample, and then the bottle is open and lost for the collection. So it's not that easy with these special editions for a company or a distillery which sells so much whiskey into the market. So they have to be very, very careful not to bother their collectors, that they will turn away from the distillery because they have no chance to get their fingers on such a bottle. So it's really a problem. Also with the second distillery in the portfolio of this corporation, there the ratio between the collectors who are able to get a bottle and those who aren't is even worse. And there you can already see how the collectors say, no, I stop collecting, no idea. No, I stop buying the whole, because if I'm not able to collect any longer, why should I drink the normal stuff? So it's quite difficult with those extra bottles. Yeah, we will see how these part of the portfolio will develop in the future. Stay tuned, there's more to come. I will drink myself through the whole range. And so you have to stay with Glenmorangie the next days. And if you have comments, please do so in our vlog. And add your own comments and tasting notes to our whiskey database. We're happy about that. Thank you for watching.